Game number 1, Aldrich Pass. We are in the losers bracket in the playoffs. The Murky Cup continues with all the bounties. So, Raccoons against Rospierdol. It's a 5-map series. Well, it's hopefully a 5-map series. It is a best of 5. That probably hits it a little bit better. Every single hero can only be played once within the series, and we have 2 prize pools. We have the normal prize pool for the top teams in the tournament, and then we also have the bounty prize pool. So as you complete bounties as a team, you get bounty points. Bounties are here, and again, the whole idea here is that we incentivize teams to give themselves a handicap to play with stuff that you see above that they normally would not use, that make things interesting. But if they complete one of these bounties, and each team can complete any of these bounties one time, if they complete one of them, they get a point, and at the end of the tournament we look how many bounties were completed in total, and then the bounty pool gets shared accordingly. So this is what we're going to get there. And it should be actually pretty fun for some of the teams, because we had some teams that really dipped heavily into the bounty pool and completed a lot of them already. Some others were more of a disappointment, I have to admit, and unfortunately one of the teams that were rather disappointing in that regard was the Bounty Hunters, who completed a few bounties, but not nearly as many as the name initially indicated. I think the top teams right now are Team Rip and then the Refueled Raccoons, who both are somewhere like 11 points in the bounty pool as far as I know. Now, there's obviously a couple of dynamics going on when you're heading into the playoffs and we're going into best of 5s. First of all, as you progress through a series, more and more heroes are unavailable because they've already been played. That means that some of those bounties become more interesting, but also when you look at a team like the Raccoons, they've already completed a lot of bounties. So that means that for them to complete a bounty, they will have to dip a little bit deeper into that sheet, and some of them are pretty difficult to complete. And we've gotten a lot of feedback already over the last couple of weeks as well for more bounty ideas, things that we could do, things that we actually could adjust, and we will definitely add more if we have another tournament like this in the future. So there were a couple of very, very nice ideas. For now, we get Junkrat and Hogger in our first game. The Raccoons, it was actually funny because when they all joined the lobby, the portrait coordination was not 100%. I believe it was Khaldor that had the wrong portrait, so he was immediately called out by his teammates. And he's like, "You need to pick the proper portrait here. We're the Raccoons." And in the game, they obviously always run the Raccoon mount if it's possible. And yeah, the team is just fun. The team is a lot of fun, very enjoyable to watch. And we'll see if they can now make their way through the losers bracket, because, again, whichever team loses this series is out of the tournament. We get Lucio and we get Hanzo, so apparently the Polish team is currently trying to embrace the power of Overwatch. They went to the dark side. I'm not sure what to tell you here, but that's unfortunately what it is. So it's all on the Overwatch level. To be fair, Khaldor's also picked an Overwatch hero. The good news is we won't see these guys again in the next round. So there's at least that. Now, what are we? I would assume that in game number 1 we still don't get bounties here. But I'm always eyeing the Raccoons a little bit, because if there is one team where I wouldn't put it past them to actually drop a bounty in, even in the first game, then it's probably them. Genji gets banned out, okay. Yeah, the targeting here also quite clear. The interesting part to me is that once again Orphea wasn't banned. It seems like we went through a little bit of a development there in general. At first nobody banned Orphea, then Disciple started to pick her and he wrecked everybody with her. People started to be like, oh my god, we don't know how to deal with this, and they banned her out. And now it seems like everybody went back to not banning her and saying like, no, we can deal with her. And most of them have been wrong. Pretty much 80-90% of the games where Disciple gets a Orphea, the Raccoons win. So for me, it is interesting that she hasn't been banned out. I wonder if Rospierdol at some point wants to just pick her away and play her themselves. I guess we'll see. Don't even know exactly if on Aldrich Pass the Raccoons are going to pick her, but for now we get Falstad with a global on the red team side, and we have Muradin, so we get Storm Bolts into Jet Propulsion stuns as a CC chain. That leaves us with Disciple. Are they going to go for Orphea here? Yes, no, time will tell. I mean, game on, Odrek pass, and we get Zeratul instead. Ladies and gentlemen, game number 1, Rospidol against the Raccoons. First game of the best of 5 series, the Raccoons on the left in blue with Disciple on Hogger. So they started to shift heroes around a bit and are putting a Disciple now on Hogger with Ubio and Zeratul. Scourge is playing Brightwing for the team. We have Bircho on Diablo and Gavlo on Junkrat. Over on the right side, the red team, the Polish team, Napierdalai with Magotzel on Mirrodin. We got Ether on Blaze, Bronek on Hanzo, Balor is playing Lucio, and then we have, last but not least, Cesabos, the Birdie, playing Falstad. So, which team takes the lead in the best of 5 series? Who's going to take this one? Oh, the spray! Look at this! Nice! That's awesome. That is good shit. I like it. I like it. Honestly, this team is just so much fun. They're doing such a fantastic job with stuff like this. Love it. Absolutely love it. So, with all of that, we have the blue team channeling the power of the Raccoon. Oh, Disciple. Yeah, well, they're trying to turn it now on the red team as they were chasing maybe a little bit too deep, but Diablo is also getting fully stun locked, and I think he's going to be the first one to fall. So, yeah, Diablo laubers, and he's eliminated. That's the first kill. Zeratul wasn't here, so he's been pushing at the bottom of the map a little bit. Might be able to slow Ether down a bit, but yeah, not so much. Instead, they're going for Hogger. Disciple has to spin out and does, so totally fine here. Okay. Now, with all of that said and done, we're now having the camps obviously targeted. Once the 1 minute mark passes and the first mercenary camp spawns, is where the teams are immediately headed. But a good start for Rospidol again. They get the kill. They were apparently a little bit triggered by all of those Raccoons on the other side. It's actually kind of funny because I think they really went for the Raccoons after Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy, but as already explained once, we had the Raccoon cartoon of my youth, and as it turned out, that is apparently a Canadian cartoon. And yeah, it seems like, I mean, honestly, in my eyes, ever since I saw that, and now with them having the spray game coordination, the port coordination, and also the mount coordination, I just can't unsee that. So yeah, it's like the Canadian Raccoons over there. Hogger at the top loses to Falstad in a 1v1 setup. So yeah, there's a second kill against the blue team. So not really off to a great start. It might have to do with the fact that the Polish team is also starting in the national colors. They started on the right side, on the red side. So maybe that gives them some additional power level that we didn't even know about. I always had the impression that the Russians as well, whenever they played in red, they were just a tiny little bit stronger. And for the Russians, obviously, there's also the factor that we're playing on an ice map, so obviously they have a bit of a home advantage here. But Team Ash not here in the tournament right now, or they might run away with that advantage completely, but the Polish team is trying to build up on all of these small things as best as they can. So, we'll see. For now, we got Magotzel jumping back out down at the bottom of the map. Cesabos has now switched things up a little bit. Disciple has rotated down here, and Falstad has mirrored that rotation. But Disciple is getting some damage in. Lead and experience isn't too crazy. And now that they're trying to go again for Hogger, Brightwing is ready for some assistance. Brightwing is a little bit like an emotional support dog. Emotional support dog that heals. That's honestly nothing that amuses me more than like these emotional support animals. And don't get me wrong, if you actually have somebody, you know, that has like deep psychological problems, you have to hear these stories about people that come home from war that have PTSD and that have animals that help them. Obviously, if it is ability and you have a support animal, it's all fine. But there's like so many like 14, 16-year-olds and stuff that are now unable to completely live their life if they don't have their support animal with them all the time, and then the rest of the world has to cater to their every single whim, being it on a flight or in hotels or offices or anywhere else. And I just find it absolutely ridiculous. It's like one of the silliest thing in my opinion. It's crazy. And again, to stress this again before, some people always like throw a total hissy fit when I talk about stuff like this, but just to make this very clear again, I'm not talking about people that have actual psychological drama. But just because you didn't get your favorite doll when you were 3, that does not mean that you now are scarred for life. I'm sorry. So I have actually people like that in my family, and I'm like, yeah, sorry, you. It's ridiculous to me. People that live the sheltered, great life, and then think they can't cross the street without their little poodle. Anyways, little tangent. How did I end up with this? Ah, yeah, Brightwing, the support animal. Okay. Down at the bottom of the map, we now got Disciple doing quite a bit of work with Falstad moving towards the top, and everybody's fighting a little bit more around the objective, or at least trying to. Hogger had a lot of space and time at the bot lane, and was doing his thing here. Has now destroyed roughly half the HP. And yeah, Blaze is trying to respond to this, but still, this is gonna hurt them a little bit. So the emotional support dragon, we'll call Brightwing a dragon today. With that skin, thanks to all of the work that they've done with mounts, with coordination, I'll let that one slide for days. So the support dragon is most likely going to jump up to the top lane, and yep, there we go. Zeratul gets some assistance. Might have been better reserved for Diablo because he gets targeted again, and that's another kill. It's 3 kills to 3 at this point. But with Hanzo falling, this is where the blue team is starting to pull a little bit ahead in the kill count. So, yeah, not too bad. Birdie flying back down from the looks of it, hoping for a kill on Gavlo, but Junkrat saw that coming and yeah, is easily playing around it. The problem really is that the red team is now starting to lose a lot of ground. You can see that they're losing hit points in the middle. This is all happening, by the way, without a first objective. So without an objective even being played, we're now looking at the fort in the mid lane nearly destroyed, the fort at the bottom of the map nearly destroyed. So that is a lot of structural damage and macro damage that is very difficult for Hospital to deal with. Partly it was enabled by an early level 10 ability on the side of the Raccoons, but a lot of it was just clever rotational play that we saw from the blue team. And a couple of ganks that didn't really work out for Rospiedol, where they used time and effort to try and get some kills that just never crystallized for them. So, oh, Hinterland Blast! Okay! Didn't see that one coming. Hinterland Blast is in. That's actually something that I, for some time, thought we could make a bounty in maybe the next tournament. But the problem with Hinterland Blast that I honestly have is it just doesn't do enough damage from the looks of it. Like, every single time that it gets used, it just feels like it does nothing. So, yeah, we'll see. But at this point, again, they're already looking for the next kill. This time the stun combo is hitting Diablo again, and he falls once more. Diablo is getting killed quite a lot. This is the 3rd time now that Diablo has fallen, so the front line is getting absolutely brutalized here. With Junkrat, they obviously have now a great tool to try and prevent that channel from happening. And he's doing his best right now, so they're preventing this from being grabbed. Hinterland Blast gets dodged, and yep, Hogger survives, Brightwing as well. But off we go again, another quick Stormbolt. Hogger is moving out, they still want the kill, but look at Zeratul coming in on Hanzo in the back, getting another cleave through and taking him down. Now they're chasing Lucio a little bit, they're going for Muradin. They might even pick up a second kill. The 2 forts have now fully been destroyed in the middle and down at the bottom of the map. And the red team is by now 1.5 levels ahead here, which is pretty respectable. So they have taken a huge lead in experience, and this entire game has really opened up for them. At the beginning, they lost a few of their heroes, but now they are absolutely bringing this back. The blue team is going for the objective, and their opponents a little bit pinned down here. They're now starting to move over towards the objective, and the arrow's coming. Oh, Brightwing did not see that one. And Scorch goes down. The objective is stopped. 0.6. Yep, they still hold on to it, and they protect the objective. That's actually kind of crazy. I would love for Zeratul to come in, try and channel it, and try and cheese it through. That would be kind of fun. It would be glorious for Hospital if they would now be able to take the objective away from the opponent. That would be quite the play, if they're able to pull that off. There is a talent advantage, of course, for the Raccoons. We have now also 26,000 damage for Hogger. We have 24,000 for Hanzo. The APOC play, there it is. They need somebody to interrupt and restart that channel, and they go in with Diablo, so they have it for now. The fight for objective number 1 still raging on, as there's big minion waves in the middle and the bot lane pushing against the red team. They're also dropping very, very low, and Zeratul again coming in and taking Hanzo down. They go for Muradin to lock in a second kill, And Zeratul is absolutely ruthless here. Great play by him. The team is starting to split back towards the mid lane to already do damage before the objective is even being grabbed. And nobody's channeling that either. Instead, they're stealing the camp away first. And yeah, that is going to hurt a lot now. Not only are they going to lose some structures in the middle, but they will of course also lose the objective itself. And depending on how this goes, this might end up with the first fort being destroyed. Falls out as a tad delay to interrupt right wing or help on the objective, so that was more or less a given. But now I'm really looking to the mid lane in particular, because, well, there's also the boss at the top that they're claiming. They're everywhere. The Raccoons are just hitting everything at this point. But you have to understand that they are about to grab level 16 talents, which means that they're not only 3 levels ahead nominally, but they're also very heavily ahead in regards to talents. And that's a big talent advantage to have. So they can maybe go for the first keep here and remove an armor shield from the core. Hogger and Zeratul are pushing in the middle and down at the bottom of the map. And then on top of that, you have the boss at the top lane. It's kind of wild. I mean, honestly, at this point, RPD is just getting absolutely murdered here by the opponent's team, and they're suffering way too much. The mid lane attack is going to be rough down at the bottom of the map. You see the same thing. All of those keeps are heavily being hit. We have topside forts destroyed now too, and the defense is attempting to center towards the middle, but it's really, really a tough one. I mean, again, this is not easy to deal with. The first keep is gone. They could easily now go towards the middle and take this keep out too. The boss is still busy up at the top, and RPD is desperately trying to somehow save themselves here. And it's not going to be easy. So right now, keep number 2 is gone. That's the second Arbor shield removed. The boss at the top lane is still active, but they're going for Muradin. Avatar is being used. Hogger! Nice spin, dodging out on the stun. Still dying though after the bunker gets put to the ground. And Ether might still fall. Lucio already has. So, well, if they can take Blaze down as well, but they can't. They might have been able to go for the core, but as is, they're already in such a dominant position that it's going to be tough to deal with for RPD. I mean, that's definitely true. Right now, damage-wise, 35,000 for Hogger. Same for Hanzo. We got Zeratul on 30,000. Junkrat on 34,000. So, yeah, the team is really chipping in on all sides. Specifically, of course, Zeratul with some absolutely phenomenal plays that guaranteed them kills time and time again. So, they are doing a stellar job on that front. And it really shows. It is, I don't want to say impossible, but it's insanely difficult for the opponent's team to bring this one back. So we'll see if there's some kind of miracle team fight that the red team can conjure up to make it work, but yeah, it's gonna be dicey. Hinterland Blast, by the way, hasn't really done a whole lot. I think we've seen the ult 2 times, maybe I missed the third. But he hasn't really gotten a whole lot of damage out of it. It's one of the problems with the ult that is just easily dodgeable. There's a couple of maps where that's a different story, but for everything else you need a pre-stun. They connect an arrow from Hanzo, but they still can't lock enough CC on Diablo as they did previously to get that kill. And Zeratul is again on the hunt. They're trying to go for Blaze. He's low. Zeratul comes in, gets the first kill. Is looking for a second one. Diablo with the APOC play. Double stun on Falstad and Muradin. The birdie is gone. Blaze is dead. They go for Lucio. He's about to fall too. That only leaves Muradin, and he will likely fall as well. It's a 5-man team wipe. Entire team gets dropped, and that gets us straight into game number 2. The lead in the series goes to the Raccoons as they take the victory on Alderac Pass. GG, well played. We're heading into the next game in a moment. Before we do, once again, a bit of an appeal from my end, guys. You can support the stream for free right now. We got a campaign currently going on with Opera GX. It is the easiest campaign ever. All you gotta do is you download the browser through the link that you can find in the video description, and you watch the video on the browser. That's essentially it. It's as easy as that. It's gonna take you a minute, probably less. There's no insane download involved here. There's no game where you have to play to a certain level or anything of the sorts. It's really as easy as just downloading the browser and then watching the YouTube videos on the browser for a bit. Browser is quite nice, has an integrated VPN, has integrations for Discord, WhatsApp, and a lot of other tools that especially targets gamers. But if you just want to support the stream, this is literally all you gotta do. Check out the link in the description, download it quickly, watch the video there, and you're good already. Thanks a lot for the support. Really appreciate everybody that is taking a minute or two to do this real quickly. Thanks a lot, and enjoy the rest of the video, guys. We're going to game number 2. 10 heroes have been played and cannot be played again, but right now, of course, the Raccoons are in the lead. I have to admit that I didn't really think that they would be able to just breeze through game number 1 the way that they did, given how we initially saw multiple kills come in for Rosperdol. But they made this a very clean game. Normally when you're talking about Alderac Pass, games take a lot longer. That wasn't really the case here. So for the Raccoons, that was actually pretty solid. They took early on 2 of the forts out on the opponent's side. They pulled ahead in experience very heavily against an opponent that ran global heroes, and were then able to, with one fell swoop, essentially end the game. So, very nicely done. Blue team with the lead in the best of 5 now. And let's see how exactly Rosperdol is now reacting to it. Up to now, we didn't have a bounty attempt. Honestly, curious what exactly the Falstad thought process was, if they just misclicked on the ult, or if that was actually an intended pick. I guess Falstad can also interrupt when it comes to the objective, but I don't really know if that's really worth it. I've seen Falstad with Hinterland Blast get value on certain maps where we have corridors. I mean, you can maybe argue Gun of Terror has a couple of those, Cursed Hollow has a few, so maybe when you think along those lines. But normally what you really need is a proper CC chain in order to hit and then get value on that. Now, anyways, we get the Haka as a first pick. So once again, an attempt to go for the global on Dragonshire 2. Interestingly enough, by the way, one of the most successful heroes in the tournament so far is actually Rexa. So Rexa, he has a pretty high win rate in the tournament, and has been played a fair amount. I think he's been played 4 times and has won every single game where he has been played. So there's a couple of heroes like this. Khaldor, for example, 3 times picked, 3 times successful. Obviously, again, those are not heroes that are being played the most, but their win rate when they get chosen is fairly strong. It's a similar one also for Cho'Gall, for example. I think Cho'Gall has currently an 80% win rate, if I'm not mistaken, and has been chosen, I believe, 6 times. So only one series lost by Cho'Gall. Everything else was a success. A lot of those games obviously take place deeper into a series and not right at the beginning, but it's still kind of interesting to see what heroes have decent win rates in that context of the tournament and what they can actually pull off there. So, yeah. But at this point, we got Maiev and we got Johanna on the side of the Raccoons. I wonder if Afia is going to be addressed, or if we are potentially going to get her now for Disciple. Because right now it just seems that Rosperdol does not actually respect her. Vala gets banned. Yeah. Would actually like to see another Vala pick here. And they ban Sergeant Hammer out, so that leaves Afia open. If they would want to pick her. They got Kane and Anuburak then on the other side together with the Haka. So you have your CC there. There's Rexa. As I just said, Rexa has been played 4 times so far. And every single time that he was picked, his team won. He has nearly exclusively appeared on Dragonshire. But if that is any indication, then the streak that he's holding currently is quite powerful. So we get Malfurion then for the root. That means you have CC on every single hero that has been chosen up to now. Jojo, Maiev, Rexa, Malfurion, they all can add CC here. I wonder if the Malfurion pick is also going to influence what kind of damage they're going to go for. If they're going to go for something else here right now. But, well, first of all, red team, let's see what Boss and Bronick are going to get. We need damage dealers, obviously. Tassa, Protoss. Double Protoss. Alarak and Tassada being chosen for the team. Alarak was very hit or miss so far. Mostly miss, not so much hit. So, yeah, let's see. By now, we have our final choice, and with it being Disciple, I don't know, I wouldn't mind another game with Ophia. But we go Tracer. The Malfurion pick has already kind of indicated that this might happen, and they are indeed going for it. Dragonshire, ladies and gentlemen, map number 2 between Rosperdol and the Raccoons. Game number 2. So, we are on Dragonshire, our second map. We got Disciple on my F for the Raccoons. They played a stellar first map. Let's see if they can follow that up with a solid second one. We got Ubi on Rexa, Gavlo on Tracer, Scorch is playing Malfurion, and then Birchu is playing Johanna. As over on the right side, we got Rospidol with Ether on Dehaka. Makotzel is playing Nubarak with a Legion of Beetles on level 1. We got Barlow on Deckard Cain, Cesabos on Alarak, and Bronick on Tacita. So, interestingly enough, when we talked about potential builds and bounties, people were very much in favor of a full Beetle build for Nubarak, which kind of surprised me a little bit. So, I thought people would be more like, nah, it's going to be boring. But it seems like Beetle build is something that quite a few people would like to see. I mean, extra feedback is always welcome, so if you have anything to say on that front, any preference, then by all means let us know. That might influence our decisions for the next bounty tournament, always assuming we get more. But all the way up at the top, we're now having a push for Ether, who is, okay, pops the essence, but it was out there a little bit longer than expected. Bit more aggressively. Right now we got the extended lightning for Alarak, and yeah, as I already said before, Alarak is a little bit of a weird one in my opinion right now, because this hasn't really been his tournament, if you ask me. Alarak currently has like a 50% win rate. I think he was played 4 times, won 2 out of those 4. Which honestly is a little bit better than what I expected. I really had the feeling that his win rate was a lot lower than that. But we'll see if he's going to end up with a positive twist or with a negative one after that. Gavlo at this point, okay. I would say the one hero that I personally find a little bit surprising when it just comes to statistics and heroes that we actually have right now here in the game is Dehaka. Dehaka is only sitting at a 44% win rate. Now, he's been played 18 times, which is pretty respectable. So, definitely something to think about. But, yeah, he was as successful as I thought. But obviously a very, very popular hero, and just in some, still strong. Nubarak gets destroyed, so he's eliminated here. Yeah, Nubarak's win rate is a bit abysmal. He's like, he was played 11 times. Only won 3 out of those 11 games. So when it comes to your front line, Nubarak, it's a very tough one. The blue team is already walking away with the first objective here, by the way. They just got 1 kill, they took a Nubarak down, that immediately led to them controlling the Dragon Knight. We are not even 2.5 minutes into the game. So it's a very early one, and it shouldn't really do that much damage. But it just shows once again that, similar to what we've seen in game number 1, the blue team very quickly is starting to establish control over the flow of the game and is doing some work here. So right now we have the wall at the bottom of the map destroyed. In the middle, the Dragon Knight has also done a great job. And this is starting to make things a little bit difficult for Rospedol. They're already 1 level behind, and they are very likely gonna have to rely heavily on Alarak doing a lot of damage with proper stacks later on. And Alarak is actually able to complete his quest on level 1, so he already locked the full rewards in on the first quest and is getting stacks together for his level 4. Sitting at 9 stacks right now is not too bad. If he can get his sadism up a little bit, get those stacks on level 4 up, then his damage output is definitely going to be strong enough to potentially turn the tides of the series and help his team to get a lead here. So if he can fully pull it off or not, time will tell. For now, blue team is just going to try and still be dominant on all of the mercenary camps on the objective itself. We're only 3-4 minutes into the game right now, and we have level 7 talents already established. Misha gets stunned out, gets hit, and gets killed. They're trying, of course, to go in for more, but they can't quite get it. Gambit quest for Dehaka. Well, they go for a Nubarak again, and the Beetle makes it out. Nubarak on the way back out of the fight. Dehaka with the global. Still up at the top and doing damage up there, but down here they are trying to push for the fort. Now, Alarak is using that for additional stacks the entire time, and Nubarak might have gone a little bit too deep and is instantly getting targeted, but survives for now. Alarak still with 12 stacks here. Must be careful. Tries to execute a combo against Tracer and silenced her for a second. but they weren't able to get the kill. Alarak now on 13 stacks, and even the Haka came down to help the team out. The 1 level advantage, on the other hand, still persists for the Raccoons. So they're still holding on to that. Yeah. A few more camps already about to be claimed. Siege Giants. When it comes to top damage, it's Tracer and Alarak for now. And I would say that if Alarak doesn't completely blank on getting his stacks controlled, then he should be doing fine in the damage department. Not, of course, if he gets killed like this. So Alarak gets taken out, which means that the bit of sadism, the extra one that he had, is now lost too. But he's at 14 stacks on his level 4. So Alarak died for the first time. That was the second kill for the Raccoons in total, and they are now very close on level 10 abilities, so they can once again try to use an early heroic ability to maybe push for a structure, similar to what they've done on the last map. And they are starting to push this really aggressively through the bot lane with the Siege Giants that they got. So, good damage, already zoning the opponent a bit away. Trace has to be careful here, but get some easy damage in against Alarak. The fort in the middle of the map has also taken good damage, so this is very much a replay from what we've seen in game number 1. The mid and the bot lane heavily targeted, and both of the forts struggling early on there, whereas Rospiadol just has problems defending against it. They're falling behind in experience early, and therefore can't match the opponent around level 10. It's a small window, but it's something that gets exploited and leads to a second Dragon Knight for the Raccoons. So they're doing a great job with this. DK number 2 taken. I can maybe punt the Haka away, but obviously Burrow is still a thing, so he's not really trying, and instead is aiming for Alarak. But the Dragon Knight is going to try and take out the fort in the middle of the map, and the rest of the team is busy down at the bottom, pressuring this one. Level 10 abilities are now available on both sides, which gives us also the Archon on Tassada's side. The fort in the middle has been destroyed, and the Dragon Knight is now making his way towards the top to try and get some damage in as well, which is easily possible for them. And down here, another fort has been destroyed. So, guys, I don't know what to tell you, but the Raccoons are absolutely running the show here. This is now fort number 3 that will get destroyed at the top lane, which means that with the second objective at the 6-minute mark, it now led to the entire outer ring of defense being completely obliterated. Tracer is going to make her way out of this fight. Alarak is still attempting to use all of this to at least stack, but he's only sitting at 16, so his damage has fallen behind Tassada even. And that's just where we are in this game right now. The Raccoons have been a super exciting team throughout the tournament. They dropped into the losers bracket very early though in the playoffs. And now they are apparently starting that lower bracket run. At least they're off to a good start with this one. Disc is out. Here comes the ult from Rexa. Deckard Cain with a sleeper play. They are tethering up on Alarak though, and he goes down. Alarak is down. They want more. They want Tassada, and they're getting him. Maiev dies too, but it's still a 2-for-1 trade. And of course, what little extra sadism Alarak has had is now gone as well. He's at 18 stacks, but this is a numbers advantage again for the Raccoons, and they're starting to use it immediately again at the bottom of the map to try and take some of the structures down a notch. Maybe break through that wall, open the gate up, gain some vision to what lies behind. And they have picked up the lead in talents. Nearly 2 levels ahead just in regards to experience right now. So things are looking pretty darn good for the blue team. Now, down at the bottom of the map, we have the next camp already taken. The guys are relentless. Blue team is honestly relentless. They're moving just from one position to the next. Objective, mercenaries, kills, pushing structures, falling back, and repeating the same MO. The opponent is trying to invade at the top. I'm actually not even gonna... I'm not sure if this is gonna work out for them. I guess they can steal it. Yeah, they're too late to do anything about it, so good on them. There is obviously a double camp now pushing at the bottom of the map, so somebody on the red team will have to retreat and deal with it, or that wall is definitely going to get destroyed. But at this point, next attack is already coming towards Anubarak, Deckard Cain. Even the cocoon gets used here. They're still chasing, they're going for them, trying to hit them hard here, but they go for the old man first, and Balor Nearly gets killed, but somehow makes it. Is still being chased though and might die. They're going for Tacita too, and he's the first one to fall. Back at Kane. Yeah, well, he gets stunned, and then Tracer finishes the job. So that's 2 heroes now down, and level 15 versus level 13. Alarak final with some extra sadism is sitting at 110. He has 20 stacks on his level 4. Talk about completed quests, by the way. We have also Jojo done with her level 4, so that's going to be super useful in team fights. But they're already playing such a great game that I'm not even sure it's needed. Another Dragonite has been locked in behind that fight that we saw a second ago. So now they have the 3rd objective in a row. And with the keep destroyed at the bottom of the map, they're moving into the mid lane, trying to take this one out as well. So big plays right there from them. Another tether. They go for Ether. And it nearly ends up in a kill against Alarak, against Dehaka. Alarak also just desperately trying to get stacks, get damaged. Dehaka is taken, so he's gone. And yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm impressed by the Raccoons. I really am. They're doing such a stellar job here. The entire series has been an absolute blast from them. I expected a fierce battle between the two teams. I did not think that the Raccoons, no matter how well they played in the groups, that they would be able to be this dominant here early on. But if you just look at the kill distribution, 7-2, nearly a 2-level advantage now for the blue team. And of course, structurally, they are doing just better and better with every single play. While this all plays out, we're now looking at a red team that is desperately trying to get to a point where they can fight back, which is difficult, to say the least. But, yeah, not sure what they can do with this. They need a big teamfight victory, and they need level 16 as well, which is a little bit rough. So, I'm not sure. 7 kills to 2. I mean, at the end of the day, the kill count really doesn't matter too much, but the problem is if you need to win a couple of teams right from here out, then it's a bad indicator when you see how previous fights have gone. This missing, they still go for Sesabos, and he should actually go down. They have Alarak completely locked in. There's a couple of smart plays where they get a silence through and a sleeper play, but it's just not enough to save Alarak, so he goes down. And this is all happening without a level 16 talent for the red team. So now they're again on the run, desperately trying to survive the fight. And I just don't see it happening. They're losing too much. Deckard Kane gets tethered in, is desperately trying to somehow get enough space and slow them down so that he can escape, and actually does. But the rest of the team is getting chased as well. Disciple, they have to fall back. Tracer is still at the top, defending here. The problem is that the objective is now coming up again. And I'm not sure if they can survive another Dragon Knight in the hands of the Raccoons. I very much doubt it, to be honest. So 16 talents are ready. That gives us Epicenter. Anubra gets locked in immediately. And I think, I mean, from the looks of it so far, that loss streak of Anuburak is just going to continue here. I believe earlier I said he was played 11 times and only won 3 out of those. It seems like this is not going to change here. Unless Rospedal is able to go for a big comeback play. Which isn't impossible. But so far the indication is that they're going to struggle with it. That's a nice setup though. Now we're talking. This is a very good flank against Malfurion, and he goes down. With Malfurion destroyed and now the sustain gone, that might be the turning point for that fight. So finally another kill for the red team. They're getting more stacks together for Alarak as well. 52,000 damage now for Tacita. And this might just be the moment where they can bring this back a bit. They have with the global, they Dehaka at the top lane, grabbing them a shrine. And they could potentially go for the first Dragon Knight in this game. And that would of course help them quite a lot. Still some poking at the bottom of the map, but the blue team needs to be very careful. Rexa is defending the mid lane. And Malfurion is back in 10 seconds. So maybe they also have a chance to retake one of those shrines. There is a rotation towards the middle already coming in an attempt to go for the objective. But that means Maiev has space and time at the bottom of the map to reclaim the shrine, deny the objective to them. And Alarak is low and dies. So does Misha, but there's the level 20 talents now for the Raccoons. And I think the comeback is short-lived. Deckard Kane is dead. Dehaka, he is gonna get murdered in just a moment as well. Malfurion is gonna try and Moonfire his ass here, but Tracer is already on the case. Drops him quickly. Rexa on the way towards the top. Seems like Beatrice just wants to go and solo the core quickly. But we are going to get a Dragonite from Ubi eventually, if they even need it. The rest of the team is already on it, so they moved straight towards the core. But yes, Rexa is going to get that Dragonite just in case. But the team is already busy here with 12 kills to 3. This is going to be a no-brainer from here on out. So nicely done, the Raccoons with the 2-0 lead in the best of 5. Nice dodge on the Cocoon also by Gavlo. But yeah, that's game. That's a 2-0 in the best of 5 series as we are headed towards game number 3. GG. Tomb of the Spider Queen, game number 3. It is actually match point now. So kudos to the Raccoons with a very strong and powerful, yeah, just series in general. The guys blow me away a little bit, I'm gonna be honest. We have game number 3 coming up, which means 20 heroes have been played, cannot be played again. They are banning out Cho'Gall early. We, by the way, have still not seen Orphea, so Disciple hasn't even played Orphea yet. But interestingly enough, for the red team to make a comeback here, winning 3 in a row right now seems like a tall order. So I'm not quite sure if they are able to pull that off. That being said, if you think about what happened in the winner bracket, we had multiple games where we went towards the final, the 5th map, and we had some crazy stuff when it came to comebacks. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, well, game 1, game 2 were pretty strong for the blue team. Can the red team really bring this back? Probably not, but on the other hand, just remembering what we saw in the winner bracket should probably not count them out. We've seen too many big surprises here already as is. So, yeah. But we get Sylvanas banned out. More interesting what Rospedol is now going to get rid of. Tomb of Spider Queen, always a nice map to see here. Medivh gets banned. Yeah, the Portal Boy is out. And what are we starting with for the blue team, who had just a complete dominant run in game number 1 and game number 2. They made this fast as well. I mean, this is honestly something that I really appreciate on a day where we have a lot of games, tons of games. There are very little delays in the series. The teams are currently going from one map straight into map choice for the next one, and the insta host on the lobby is just great. So now we start things up with Garrosh. That's obviously... If Medivh was up now, they would be worried about him, but it has already been banned. If you have Garrosh plus Medivh, that can hurt quickly. One question that we still need to answer is, of course, if with a 2-0 advantage, the blue team is now willing to entertain potential bounty plays again. That's something that we should still consider. Because since we are in a lower bracket, there is a lot on the line. You're in the playoffs, you're in the losers bracket, so bounties are oftentimes in the earlier games taking a little bit of a step back. But right now, with a 2-0 lead, you could take that risk. If you are the Raccoons, you could really say, alright, in this situation, we're actually going to take that risk. We're willing to, again, look what kind of bounties could we possibly play. Every single time we're here... Oh, well, actually, we get Zagara. I am fairly sure, though, that they've already done the bounty with Nidus. They have actually completed it. They tried the Nidus bounty, but they haven't completed it. So this is most likely going to be a Nidus attempt from them. Yeah, okay, not bad. When they picked Mephisto, I was a little bit worried because a lot of the bounties that they still have available center around potential damage dealers that they could pick. Some mages. So it would have been interesting to see them pick something else. But with Zagara locked in as their second choice, I think we can safely assume that they're going to try a Nidus play and use that as their bounty. Because up to now, they tried it once, but they failed. They banned out ETC, Alexstrasza got banned too. Yeah, and on the other side we got Leoric and we got Gul'dan. So, yeah. This could get interesting very, very quickly here for the blue team. There is Stitches. They banned Alexstrasza. They could have gone for a bounty too. They could have gone for the Stitches Alexstrasza bounty, but they decide that they want the Crybaby instead, so they pick up Anduin here. Yeah, still a hook. They need a follow-up. And here comes Ophia. Again, it was just a matter of time. If you don't ban it against Disciple and you don't pick it away, he is eventually going to take it. In game number 1 and game number 2, they apparently thought, okay, we don't need this. But look, by the way, what they're playing here. They're playing a triple damage dealer combo. That is just... Honestly, this is quick match shit. Triple damage dealer is what was played at the beginning of Heroes of the Storm, and for a long time that was played even in Hero League and in quick match, because all of the plebs that had no idea about how to properly play the game and what a real team composition is were always like, oh my god, we need more damage, we don't have enough damage! And they all thought that you need 3 damage dealers because nobody watched HGC. Sad moment, but unfortunately true. But that is like full-on triple damage. I'm not quite sure if they're overstepping this a little bit. I like that they're going for a bounty, likely, we'll see on level 10. But not going for an actual side laner, that is still a bit of a surprise. This is not a bounty, by the way, to go for triple damage. But, well, Tomb of the Spider Queen, it's match point number 1, so let's see what they can do here. We're heading off to Tomb of the Spider Queen. Match point number 1, and a bit of a wild team composition for the blue team. So, at this point, we got Ophia, played by Disciple with the Ancestral Strength for the Raccoons. I mean, over on the left side, yeah, that is definitely a bounty play. They're definitely going to go for Nidus. Infest being used by Zagara, so she's going to be used as that side laner and just like trying to push, and probably will stay away, not from all team fights, but she's going to try and focus on some lane pressure. At the same time, now Biachu played by Garrosh. We currently got Scorch on Rega and Gavlo on Mephisto. Still no second melee. On the left side, the blue team with a lot of damage, whereas over on the right, Ross Pedol with Makotzel on Stitches. We got Bronick on Gul'dan, Cesabos on Lunara, Bala on Anduin, and Ether is playing Leoric. So Leorki is in the house. Ah, there's the hook. And already some brawl in the middle, and that's the end of Disciple. Yep, he's down. That's a quick one. 30 seconds in, and Ophia is dead. That one hurt. Ether down at the bottom of the map has to deal with Zagara. Talking about Leoric. You guys actually know why Leoric never goes to the club? Because he got nobody to dance with. Oh, yeah. And they're gonna get bad today. And half the people is like, I don't get it. Well, we got Zagara obviously trying with the Greed Tumors down at the bottom of the map and doing her best here. And she is being caught quickly and gets crushed. So that's 2 kills to 0 now for Ross Pierdol. Maybe it was all a strategy. They give the opponent an advantage to make them feel safe, and then they absolutely annihilate them. So, starting things off with an easy double kill right there. We have, at the top, Makotzel taking over. Obviously, the camps are now also claimed, and with the red team getting those 2 kills, they're not only going for their own Bruiser camp, but they also move down to the bottom of the map to grab the Siege Shines. That helps them to easily push here. And, yeah, well, there comes the next attack with the Disciple starting to move in. In the middle, sorry, at the bottom, that's Garrosh again, nearly dead. He barely makes it, and that could have been the 3rd kill for Rospedol, who are now a little bit ahead in experience. Another play for Ophia, and Disciple is down, and so is Garrosh. And what the hell is happening here? Where did that red team come from? Where were they hiding in game number 1 and game number 2? All of a sudden, they're just crushing everything here. To be fair, this is partly a result of this being just a full damage lineup from the Raccoons. That is just one of the problems that it comes with, I guess. But this is still a massive, massive difference. We have 4 kills to 0, 2.5 minutes in. So the red team is crushing it right now. Disciple, a nice helping hand. Disciple is trying to bring this back and is going hard for Gul'dan. Might be going a little bit too deep here, honestly, if you ask me, but they're starting to switch targets now. Gul'dan is mega low, and instead they're coming in, trying to take Stitches down. Nice move by Rega. If he doesn't help out here, who knows? This could have been a bit of a problem for Disciple, but he's gonna die anyways? Maybe not? Disciple knows one way, and that is forward, apparently. He's just going for more damage. Disciple's entire defense is like, kill them before they kill you. And so far, it's actually not working too badly. Bronick gets saved again, which is a bit of a miracle if you ask me. But they are able to save him. It is kind of funny, though, how they are playing this one out. And Ophia has now danced down to the bottom of the map and taken down Leoric. That's a lot of gems lost. Yeah, that is decent amount of gems lost. Now, let's not forget that the blue team also lost 4 heroes. So it's not like only the red team has lost some gems here. But still, this is starting to look a little bit better now for the Raccoons. That was an important kill against Leoric, and then they got another one against Gul'dan. The gems in the mid lane were picked up, but both of the teams are now hitting level 7 at the same time. And from the two of them, it's only the red team, it's only the Raccoons that have handed in any of their gems. Stitches! That's 25 gems there, and thankfully for them, they got Anduin, who can help out, or this could have been bad. Yeah, this could have been really bad. Now, the party continues here. 29 gems have been safeguarded already. Zagara at the bottom of the map, she's currently holding 6. Nothing real crazy. As already mentioned, we went Infest on level 1. Now they're trying to go for Garrosh again. It's actually kind of wild how much damage over time they currently have. And Garrosh made it, which is more than anything just shocking. Insane survivability here. As now Zagara is moving back out too. Still trying to go for the turn-in. The red team has now also turned in 27 of their gems. Specifically, of course, Stitches has turned in, which was big to begin with. But they're coming in again for Leoric. Trying to get the hits in. But yeah, they can't quite take him out. There's also a lot of heal coming over the wall from Anduin. 18 stacks for Gul'dan is also showcasing very nicely how much damage we're getting here from this. How much fighting we're getting. And Rhaegar is kind of committed to this. Is trying to jump out and gets killed. Yeah, they were trying to save him, but there was just no escape anymore. He was already committed to the attack, and now Disciple is in the same spot, but he just doesn't have any sustain anymore. So that's Disciple gone. That's 6 kills to 2. And with all of the aggression from the Raccoons, it's just not working out for them. At least not this far. Maybe later on they have a bit of a chance to somehow gain momentum. But if we're honest about it, this whole idea of kill them before they kill you is just not working right now. And we haven't even seen a turn-in yet. But we will soon. Leo is now turning in, and so is Cesarbos, and once that he's done that, he doesn't even need it. They turned in the rest of the gems at the top. So here's level 10, and they have Web Weavers. This is gonna hurt. This is potentially the start of a comeback right here. Rospedol could force game number 4 if they are now making some successful plays. They could snowball this one hard, and this has to obviously be the goal here. Another hook, but they don't have the range increase yet. Need to wait another 3 levels before that connects. But at this point, yeah, the blue team is locking in their own heroic abilities so that they can at least defend, I guess. Haven't seen that gorge yet. And that gives us the Eternal Feast. We get the bounty attempt as expected. And now we have the Nidus network. Lunara gets killed. Nice, so they're getting a Lunara kill. Can they get more? They're trying again with a feast. Yeah, there's the Entomb. And Disciple, he doesn't care about Entombs. He gets the Ancestral, tries to go for Anduin here, and is able to slap Anduin hard. And then they come in with a potential kill on Leorki, who is taken out by Rhaegar. Put into the corner now, though, and saved. Nice. Disciple, on the other hand, yeah, I'm not so sure if they can save him. The Gorge against Garrosh. I guess they're saving Disciple, but Garrosh falls. Birchu is gone, so he sacrifices himself for a good cause. It's now 5 kills to 7. It's weird. It's a little bit of a weird dynamic that we have in these team fights, I have to say. So, Garrosh dies, but way more heroes have fallen on the red team side. And that obviously cost them. But Gavlo will likely now get destroyed too. Yep, so he goes down, loses a few more gems. The blue team could get a turn in. They are still behind in the gem count overall, but they could get their own turn in now. So, yeah, that could really, really work for them. When it comes to damage, who's currently leading the charts here? It's of course off here. Again, it's always Disciple. 28,000 against the 25,000 that we get from Gul'dan. Lunara is only at 17k. And it's all a matter of whether or not the turn-ins will come together. And it is the second turn-in for RPD instead, so the blue team is still not able to get web weavers. They will have to try and defend again, which could get a bit dicey. Zagara at least has her Nidus, so this is helping her a little bit. Again, they wanted to go for the bounty, so she is just trying to get that creep spread going and make the plays there. But now with the mid lane attack coming, with a hook increase on Stitches, the aggression is just becoming more and more of a problem. Rhaegar's already gone. They go for Disciple. He's also eliminated, and that's just horrible. Absolutely horrible for the blue team. That's 2 heroes down. While Zagara has defended the bot lane with ease, the fort in the middle now falls. At the top, this one is going to get destroyed too. Cecibos is absolutely uncontested here with the web weavers. Zagara has pushed the bot lane a little bit, has 24 gems, and is pressing this even further. So she might have to move out with a Hearth. And she does, before the rotation comes in. But at least they saved 1 fort. They lost 2, they saved 1. And now they have the 5-man back up on the map. They need a turn in. They really need to turn their gems in. They should still have enough. They have enough to get a turn in, but of course they lost a whole lot here. And this is still a game where they haven't gotten a single web weaver wave. And since nobody's defending down at the bottom of the map, this also means that the red team is getting free damage in. The rotation is now coming, but it's also slow, so this fort might fall, and then it's the entire outer ring of defense that's gone. So they're trying here with Garrosh again, but he's alone. They're fighting this before the rest of the team is here. And that's just not working for them. So this is just tough to watch. They attacked too early. Garrosh was there, was hoping to prep a kill for the rest of the team before they came down there. But then he falls. They get a counter kill on Leoki. So, I mean, at least that's something. Maybe they can somehow close the distance and get also... Yes, they can get Gul'dan. Nice. It's actually impressive when you think about it. It was a 5 versus 4. And then they finally are able to get 2 more kills. So the damage is starting to work for them. Here comes the turn-in. Garrosh is back. 25 seconds for Gul'dan to be back too. So that should allow them to go into position early and get a bit of damage on those walls before Gul'dan, the main defender in this situation for RPD, is back to business. So here's the opportunity right there to get some counter damage going, which they definitely need to do now. So Gul'dan is about to come back. Orphea is pushing at the top. They're trying to take the minion wave out and the mercenary camp apart in the middle of the map. But Gul'dan is now going towards the top. Orphea gets attacked, and Disciple desperately needed that heal as he starts to rotate towards the middle. They go for Leoki again. The hook and gorge against Orphea. And she's not going to make it, no. Orphea is not going to make it. That's 20 gems that are lost. 20 gems that are lost. Zagara gets them at least a fort at the bottom of the map. So, yeah, the side lane pressure play is awesome. The problem is that she might be going a little bit too deep. Has to take the Nidus, and does. And is easily able to escape with it, of course. But they need to do more than that. They actually pulled the entire red team, or most of them, down to the bottom of the map, so they can do some damage at the top, I suppose. We have Orphea back in 8 seconds. The main problem is that they lost, again, a huge amount of gems as they lost Orphea, and now, even with another turn-in, they just need to do more. 1 fort, again, it's nice that they took a fort down, but it's just not enough if they want to catch up on this. So for RPD, this is still a good position to be in. They're still looking strong here. Teams have both level 16. RPD is also getting a bit closer to another turn-in, which would be their third. 34,000 damage now for Gul'dan against the 40,000 from Orphea. They go for Stitches, Horrify, and Gorge used with the Light Bomb follow-up. And he might get out, and he does. Leo is dead. Now they go for Anduin, and they get a kill here too. This is actually pretty impressive. What started off against a very solid play against the blue team is now all of a sudden turning into a fight that, well, the Raccoons are actually winning. Bambi made it out. Good for her. But this is an easy push in the middle for the fort, and they can get their second turn in. So this was something. This was well turned by the blue team, and they're now going for the boss at the top. Now, is that too much to ask for here? I guess we'll see. They're still working on that turn-in, but if they're now losing, let's say, Garrosh, that would be a problem. So they're spreading themselves a little bit thin. They want that boss, and they're likely going to get it. Anduin isn't here yet. Even with a Horrify, I don't think that the boss can be taken. So, yeah, boss will be claimed. There are enough gems in the hands of Rospedol to get a turn in themselves, but they're not trying. The fight is happening, and Ophia is dead again. She dies too many times. This is the 6th time now that she's gone, but they get the counter kill on Stitches at least. While the boss is pushing, they can go for the turn-in. So it is a really strange game. Disciple normally with Ophia an absolute monster, but I think the lack of a second frontliner that can shield and really just act as a meat shield is a problem. Normally, of course, their side laner is also somebody that if he doesn't bring stuns, he brings slows. And that is just a utility that they do not have now. They're getting another kill, so now Leoric is gone. When it comes to kills, we have 11 kills to 13, so the two teams are getting very even here. That topside fort is gone, and some nice damage done by the objective, or by the boss. But they need to complete that turn-in if they want to have a successful chance to take the final fort out. And they're getting it with Garrosh in the middle of the map. Zagara has taken the camp down at the bottom of the map, and they're now going also for the Bruiser camp over on the left. Both teams getting close to level 20, of course. But this is where it gets a lot more interesting too. This is only the second turn-in for the Raccoons. And they are actually starting to pull ahead in experience. Given how this all started and how much of an advantage Rospedol had, this is impressive. The red team still with a big chance, of course, of winning this. They need to complete the quest on Gul'dan. One more hit is needed. Once again, it's Ophia that gets attacked, and she dies again. These hook and gorge plays are just too much for them to handle. The fort is gone, but I do not know if they get more than that. Even with level 20, maybe they can break the wall in the middle. But let's be honest, it's a 5 versus 4 now. Both teams on level 20, and they have to be very careful around Stitches. He has, of course, well, there's a Horrify too. Stitches, yeah, he gets saved. They're coming in with even more damage thanks to the ult that we're getting from Mephisto. Done some damage on the keep at least. They opened the bot lane up as well, so all of those lanes have now lost their gates and towers. But without the help of Ophia, they have to retreat here. The problem is still getting those hooks just connected over and over again, and then following that up with a gorge makes it extremely difficult for the Raccoons because they find themselves consistently down one hero. And, well, shout out to Stitches. Shout out to the tank player here on the side of Rospedol, who just keeps connecting crazy hooks that allow the team to get into those positions. And now they have a chance of another turn-in. Now they have an opportunity to deliver the gems and get another turn-in and another web weaver wave. Mephisto is at 66,000 damage. We got Ophia on 55,000, and, well, just behind them is Gul'dan with 50k. And again, they go for Stitches, and he gets saved by the pull. But this is another one of those situations where with a quick gorge, they could have maybe even turned it against them. So, yeah. So here come the web weavers. Also Lunara with just a lot of range poke the entire time here. But now they gotta try and defend this. Zagara has gone into the Mutalisk on level 16. We have with Pack Instinct now too. Monster Within for Ophia. I mean, she needs to survive. Whenever Sophia was left to her own devices in some of these team fights, you could really see just Disciple use the mobility and dance around the opponent's team and just slap away, going full on shadow walls on them over and over again and getting that damage out. Leo himself was on the receiving end of that beating multiple times. Here comes again the ult, nicely done. Make it, the Ancestor was maybe a little bit too much right now. Actually, was that the second connect? Maybe it was more needed. Maybe I was a little bit late catching that. He was low, but I'm not sure if the Ancestor was needed or if he was a little bit trigger happy. At the end of the day, better safe than sorry. They used a couple of ults after the Entomb and the entire play around Stitches was being made here. So now we have 6 deaths on Leoric. And while the keep in the middle is at 50 HP and the one at the top has also lost a lot of hit points, they have successfully defended and not lost a single one of their structures. So with another 30 seconds left, they have a numbers advantage now. They have enough gems to get close to a turn-in, but not quite enough to get it. And again, this is still match point. If the Raccoons win this game, then they are the ones that take the victory here and move on to the next round in the losers bracket. So right now we got 12 kills to 14. They're still super close. Stitches again with that hook. Yeah, he nibbled. That got really close. 67,000 damage and 64,000 damage now. Fia's catching up. Triple Gorge! Where's the follow-up? They're trying again for Leo. Entomb is out. Horrify against Orphea. And she's dead again. Death number 8. Orphea is just the one that gets killed over and over and over again. The entire time. Yeah, they are targeting her hard. She is a squishy. And as I said, it is tough if you have only a single frontliner. Garrosh is having a rough game here too. Normally he has somebody that assists him a bit in shielding the team and the damage. But right now it's just not a thing. So the triple gobble up by Stitches was nice. And then they got a kill too. Now they got the boss at the top. And with that, I guess the top keep is gone. Top keep is gone. They don't get another turn with this. But yep, top keep will be destroyed here. There's no saving this anymore. The bigger question is just simply what's going to happen around the hooks now. If they land another one and they kill another hero, then there's a very good chance that the core is going to be on the agenda for the red team. And Tomb is nice. Ancestral, beautiful timing here again from Rhaegar. Nicely done. That one was spot on. Absolutely spot on. Yep, keep as expected is gone, but at the same time, they won't be able to do more. Hook didn't connect. The play against Garrosh didn't work out for them. So off we go. I honestly wonder what exactly triggered that triple damage comp on the side of the Raccoons. Again, this is not a bounty. The bounty that they're trying is the Nidus network on Zagara. So them going for a triple damage composition is a little bit wild. I haven't seen that in a competitive game for years. I want to say 10 years or so. And for very good reason. This is not something that gets played. Well, that's a kill. Yep, Zagara. Okay, he eats Garrosh. There's the Entomb. And that's Zagara gone. That is, again, it's always Stitches. The hooks are amazing. And now they get more kills. Yeah, and that might just be game. With Garrosh and Zagara gone, this could be the end of it. Gavlo gets targeted next. It's always Stitches with the plays here. Gavlo goes down. That's only 2 survivors. And I think the top lane is now wide open. And we're going to get a point on the board for Ross Pierdol. At this point, it's their game to lose. I like the attempt by the Raccoons to go into the Zagara bounty. I am still not certain why exactly they decided to play this without a second melee. So now they're paying the price for it. They're just taking too much damage. The hooks, they're hitting hard. Nicely done by Stitches. But they definitely want to go for the core here. And I do not think anybody can stop them. Disciple is trying. But this is one of the rare games with Orphea where he actually loses the game. They kill Leoki. But, well, Disciple is still alive. We'll need an Ancestral, though. And that's just not in the cards right now. So the core is actually still in play. They weren't able to end the game. Instead, we have Bronick dying. Bronick dies, and Disciple dies too. The heal came off cooldown just a bit too late to save Orphea. But they saved the game. I can actually not believe that that just happened. They weren't able to end the game. Like, how on earth is that a thing? So now it's 14 kills to 19. If the blue team can technically still win this. Please understand that the Raccoons have now, again, enough gems for a turn-in. They're 7 gems away from completing this. So this could be a game where they still win it with Web Beavers now. Yeah, no Gorge at this point. I'm sorry. The hook! Whoa! Indomitable! A second too late. And now he doesn't have it to safeguard against the light bomb stun. Yep. I don't think he's going to be happy about that. I mean, he uses level 4 to try and dodge this. Now the blue team gets Web Weavers, but they don't have their tank.
that kind of sucks. That's really the play from RPD right now. And they catch Rhaegar. He's fine. He doesn't even have to use his Ancestral on himself. But I still think that the defense is now going to be too easy. Disciple is just going to be looking for kills. They need kills right now. I mean, again, they have nothing else to do. There's no other way that they can play this. They have to try and get some damage in, dodge some hooks. If the Web Weavers don't do at least a little bit of damage, then you're just going to die a slow and painful death. So going towards the top and potentially taking Bambi out would be huge. And you know what? Bambi is actually fairly low, gets hit, and gets murdered. Nice. Rhaegar, talking about getting murdered, gets hit hard by the Horrify, and he dies too. So yeah, nicely done. They're going towards the middle, and the Web Weavers down here, they are going to get some damage. Question is just how much. If they can take, for example, that keep out, that would be amazing, but I do not think that's going to be happening. Kotzel for Zagara, and easy. Anduin with a pull, and Zagara is dead. Yeah, no chance. So Zagara dies. Stitches has been playing this perfectly the entire game. Absolutely perfectly. 22 kills, 215, and here is what will end the game. Always assuming they're going to get it, but it is going to be a numbers advantage. So, yeah, they're going to figure this out. It's all a question of whether or not the red team can now either get kills or the boss. If for some reason the blue team is able to get some kills themselves, then it would be a different story. But right now, that's not really happening. Mephisto is low, and so is Garrosh. Orphea tries to get the kills, but it's Mephisto that falls, and Disciple just doesn't have enough here. Or does he? Disciple is somehow still alive. They're playing this without Rhaegar here. But now that Lunara is back, this is going to spark the final few kills. She gets the kill on Leoric, but Orphea dies too. Now Garrosh is gone. Again, they had to try something here. 10 deaths on Orphea. And Rhaegar, he was just back too late. If Rhaegar didn't die earlier, then maybe they have a chance. I thought, honestly, when he was hit by the Horrify, that maybe he can just sustain himself long enough so that he's able to get his self-ancestral, but that wasn't the case. And now, 25 minutes into the game, we're gonna see the conclusion of this one. So yeah, nicely done. Took them a lot longer than I expected, but the red team is still able to get themselves a game. I thought, maybe not. You're shitting me. You are joking. They still haven't ended. Wow. That's insane. 88% on the core, and the game is still not over. They again got defeated on the core and pushed back. You can't be like, you can't be serious. What the hell is happening here? There is no way. They're just melting them with the triple damage, and there's not enough. There's what? And now they're trying to sneak the boss while Stitches is gone. That is a 27-minute boss here. Red team is turning in. So Web Weavers against boss. Like, what? What is this game? Like, seriously. So now they're going for the boss at the top. And defend, attack? Like, what's the play here? The Raccoons are a little bit wild. It is still crazy to me that they haven't lost the game yet. But they should lose it. The boss is doing damage at the top and is going to take the keep out. It's maybe even going to go and damage the core a little bit. It's all about the team fights right now. Zagara is defending. She has a lot of tools to defend with the wave clear here. It's still going to be tough, but yeah. So they're doing their thing in the middle, and they've done this with ease. Now they're trying to take down the Web Weaver at the bottom of the map before the keep gets destroyed, which I think they can pull off with the help of the catapult here. So, yep, they can. Tapped at the top. I think they can hold that keep. That boss is getting melted away now. Does the blue team still have enough gems for a turn-in? I do not believe that they do. I don't think they do. So it comes down to a team fight again. 32 gems for the red team. We're now 28 minutes into this game. 28 minutes. That's wild. And there's the catch. And the ancestral. And Stitches saved him. Stitches saved him. Or he would have most likely died. That was nuts. Stitches just saved Garrosh. They lose Leorki, but Stitches just saved Garrosh. Check this one out again. Look at it. The first Ancestral connects. He would have died, but Stitches eating him delays the damage, and that allows the Ancestral to go off. And then they lose Leorki again. That was nuts. That was absolutely nuts. So, yeah. Now we have... I mean, Leorki's back in 16 seconds, so there's that. But if I was... honestly, if I'm the red team, I'm going to check the PayPal account now of Stitches. I think there might be some dubious transactions. Just saying. I would want to prove. He had crazy hooks and crazy plays throughout the entire game, but that was suspicious as hell. So, check his PayPal account. We might have a trader in our midst. But at this point, we are 30 minutes in. Essentially. So, yeah. 113,000 damage for Mephisto. Casual 6 digits. Orphea has 111,000. Has 10 deaths. We have Gul'dan on 110,000. So, it is a crazy one. More hooks. The connects. The gobble up. And Ancestral is ready. Can Rhaegar get it in time? And the Horrify. The Horrify from Gul'dan prevented the Ancestral. They're trying to get counter kills again. And Aether is gone once more. They nearly had Gul'dan here too. Yeah, there's the ult again from Rhaegar to save the day. But they're always getting these counter kills. They just keep getting them. They should turn in, by the way. Leoric has now died 10 times as well. So him and Orphea, they are rocking the numbers on this one. Gavlo turned in. 29 gems delivered. We're 30 minutes into the game. It's, by the way, funny how low this bottom fort is. The problem for the blue team is simply that they haven't taken a single keep out. So the catapults on the other side are just pushing all of this like crazy. They check out Stitches here, okay. And they steal the camp, yeah. The hook connects. And, yeah, they have to move out. But that got scary for a second. It really, it still feels the entire time that it's just a matter of time until Rospedol wins, right? I can't be the only one that just sits there and thinks, like, hey, they could have won 10 minutes ago. Here comes the hook on Rhaegar. He has no Ancestral. No Ancestral, and therefore he has no chance. Garrosh again with a play. They're trying to get some counter kills, but now, again, at some point, they just gotta win out of those kills that they have. The Horrify follow-up. Garrosh is gone. Only the 3 damage dealers remain. Disciple is now trying to go for it. He is down. Please tell me this is it. Please tell me they're not somehow dying to the core now. Mephisto is gone. It's a 5-man team wipe. If they now get eliminated by the core, then I don't know what to say. Then they don't deserve victory anymore. But this has to be it finally. So they could have won this one 10 minutes earlier, if I think, but they finally claim it. 50 kills, 32 minutes, and finally a point on the board for Rospedol. GG. Game number 4! Battlefield of Eternity. So, let's go. Game number 3 was a bit of a wild ride, if you ask me. Again, 32 minutes, level 27, a bit bonkers. It feels like they could have ended it 10 minutes earlier or something. But, yeah, crazy, crazy stuff. Now, anyways, with Battlefield of Eternity now being our 4th map, this means this is match point number 2. We had 30 heroes played, which means all of those 30 heroes are now unavailable and cannot be picked again. So, let's see what exactly the two teams have up their sleeves with that little handicap. ETC gets banned first. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the last map, by the way. It was just insane. They went twice for the core, and twice it looked like, okay, this is a game. And then they got defeated at the core and pushed back. And I still do not understand the thought process of the blue team to go for a triple damage lineup.
I think for some people, especially if you just play, you know, like Storm League, you play Quick Match, it doesn't come as that big of a surprise. But in the days of HGC, which is now 10 years ago, we had already, like, essentially no triple backlines anymore. The only place where that was played was in public games, because, like, all of the casual players were just, like, terrified of not having enough damage and didn't understand that you would normally run either 2 melees or, in a lot of cases, even 3. So only in that environment of, like, total noob play would you see a triple backline. And ever since then, I have, in no competitive environment, seen triple backline plays. Maybe, you know, in the first round of a tournament with a team that is not that experienced, or when, like, a huge favorite goes up against a massive underdog, you see it as a little bit of a gimmick. But in a serious environment like the playoffs, it just doesn't happen. And now, all of a sudden, they go for a bounty, which is in and of itself already a handicap that you give yourself, and they do that on top of it. So I'm still surprised. I don't understand what the thought process was. I expected them, when I saw that Zagara pick, I expected them to go for a bounty. I was like, okay, they're trying to Nidus bounty, but I was waiting for that side laner to be picked too, and they just didn't. So now that we're going into game number 4, this is of course another chance for Rospedol to also bring the series back and force a 5th map. We have Jimmy, clearly going to be played with Exterminator here, from the looks of it, so that they can go on Battlefield of Eternity for good immortal damage. We get Chen together with him. So they're pandering to the audience a little bit with that. Li Ming, Sylvanas on the other side, plus Mal'Ganis, who is always, I mean, I don't want to say unkillable, but he is close. Chromie got regularly banned. You can obviously recognize the ban pattern quite nicely here, at least on ban number 1 and ban number 2 for the 2 teams. Getting rid of Medivh is one of the main things, and then Sergeant Hammer gets eliminated as well. Genji, he was still up, gets also taken out. But with Chen already claimed, I would love the Chen main tank. I'm always a fanboy of Capybara and what he does in the Korean environment with the Chen main tank, but there we have Cho'Gall. I'm okay with Cho'Gall too. I am okay with the Cho'Gall pick here. And, well, Team Rospedol, I believe they have they have actually completed the Cho'Gall bounty. So this is outside of them trying to complete a bounty. This is them just saying, hey, Cho'Gall is going to be great here. So we're going to get another Cho'Gall match. I think we had Cho'Gall, what did I say earlier? We had it Cho'Gall 6 times? 1-5, something like that. We get Tyrande. Good also, not only for the heals, but in addition to that, you get the Hunter's Mark against Cho'Gall, against the Immortal. You have Thrall, the synergy with your Alpha Wolf on level 16, and your level 4 quest talent. Another tool that they can use against Cho'Gall too. And there comes Auriel. Obviously, there was no additional ban left, so Auriel for the heal is in. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, game number 4. Can Rospedol bring this to a 5th map, or is this where the Raccoons are putting their foot down and win the series? Let's find out. Battlefield of Eternity. Game number 4. Well, here we are. On the left, the Raccoons. Still in the lead. It is match point for them. We have Scorch on Tyrande. We're getting Li Ming played by Disciple. Birchu is playing Mal'Ganis. Ubi on Thrall with a Trolling Thunder. And we get Gavlo with Sylvanas. Over on the right side of the map, we got Makotzel on Cho, Ether on Chen. Balor is playing Auriel for the red team. And then, of course, we got Bronek on Gal and Cesabos on Jimmy. Exterminator is what we would expect here. Hasn't picked it yet, though. And, well, there it is. So he's going to be responsible for the early immortal damage for sure. And let's see how Tyrande is going to operate on the side of the blue team, especially, of course, in the context of her applying extra damage to Cho'Gall and also to the Immortal whenever the Hunter's Mark is applied. And they're already doing some good damage down here. So, yep, they're getting some connected. That's Cho'Gall down to 50% of its HP. Applying a little bit more pressure also onto Auriel. But it is a 3 versus 2 split. As topside, we got Rhaegar. And Rhaegar is... wow. Yeah, well, Rhaegar's not in the game. It's Thrall. And he nearly died. Rhaegar was in the last game. Can't play a hero often than one time. So, there's that. Oh, he barely got out. Mac Onek! Look at that. That's a nice... that's honestly... that sounds like a McDonald's burger. A Mechanic with fries. And make it Muxy. 100%. You can't tell me that you're not immediately getting hungry if you're talking about the Mechanic. What's on a Mechanic? I think there's a double patty there. We've got some onions. Definitely fried onions. 100%. So, yeah. A Mechanic to go with fries. And I guess we're going for a Coke here. Oh, dodging the stun. Nicely done. That could have been the end of Oriel. So, well played. That was a rotation that cost them a little bit. They were hoping to move down here with a hero from the top lane to apply pressure, and it just didn't help them. They're losing the wall at the top one way or another. And down at the bottom of the map, Mechanic, with all of that nutritional value, is still trying to keep that lane healthy. But, let's go. So a little bit more damage here, taking the wall out, or trying to, but when it comes to the lane split, the red team clearly has the number. They are getting way more out of that top lane than they are able to pull off at the bottom of the map. All the way up here, we already have the 4 taking damage. Now they're coming in with Sylvanas, trying to go for Sessa Boss. They might just be able to get something done here, because Mal'Ganis is now starting to fly in, and, well, without an escape tool, Jimmy goes down. They're hoping to get a second kill, and you know what? Ether is not going to make it either. That is a double kill at the top lane. Well played. So they get the 2 kills against both of the top laners, and that allows Sylvanas to instantly push, which he now does with Thrall. So that's actually pretty nice for them. If they only killed one of them, it would have been a totally different story. The second hero could have still defended, but now the wall gets destroyed. The Immortal is coming into play, but nobody has actually gone for their Shaman camp. Instead, they're just trying to go for the objective right away. But doing damage here was actually important. So generally, the blue team is losing in structures, but that brought them back a little bit. Best talent now taken on level 4. Need to keep an eye on Jimmy. He's going to be the biggest threat to the blue team. And, well, off we go. Jimmy, yeah, there he is. Exterminator is such an amazing tool on the first and second Immortal. When the opponent ramps up their own Immortal damage, then again, they can contest this a bit. But early on, it's just such an amazing tool for Jimmy to have on level 1 already, and they're going to get this one easily. Mal'Ganis is trying to slow this down, but the only one that he needs to put to sleep is, of course, Jimmy, and that's just not happening here. Sylvanas has pushed at the bottom of the map a little bit, though. So they're getting value with Gavlo by him making some plays there. Yeah, jumps on the wave, gets whipped, but should still be fine as long as he doesn't run straight into Cho'Gall. And yeah, they're going to be absolutely alright in this situation. But they are going to lose some ground to the Immortal, no matter how small that shield is. So yeah, that's another thing. And eventually they gotta have to deal with Cho'Gall. Good damage, but they need a bit more. Should also not neglect the defense, though. It's nice when you can chase Cho'Gall away a little bit, but then at the same time, there's an Immortal on your fort. So you would be well advised to ensure that you're not losing too much there. So, well, off we go. They take that one out. Chen is still sitting all the way up at the top. Another nice stun connect from Tyrande. And, by the way, Disciple has now gone into Seeker. So normally when you're seeing a Seeker build that is nearly exclusively played on Battlefield of Eternity, and it oftentimes is also played with Glass Cannon on level 13, the whole idea being that you're not that damage-hungry Li Ming that we normally get with Calamity, which is as a battle mage jumping through the fight, but instead just somebody that stays consistently at range and is trying to dish out immortal damage or poke away against somebody like Cho'Gall. So if they're really going for Glass Cannon, then that will be another threat potential against Cho'Gall. But it also means that you have to be very, very careful whenever the engage is made onto Li Ming. So down here, once more, nice connect, but they're going for Oriel now, and there's at least one hero dying here. They go for Oriel, and she doesn't make it. She was well protected initially, but after, at the top, Sylvanas got destroyed, and the fort now gets attacked. They were able to go at the bottom of the map to get that kill on Oriel, and now that they're getting some damage in here too, it might just be an exchange in forts. So what started off as a really nice play by Rospedol has now been more or less negated by the Raccoons as they got damage too. Very, very close game now. 3 kills to 1. And up at the top, the camp is taken.
The raw damage output that we saw thus far, 20,000 for Gal. We got 15,000 for Thrall. 15,000 for Li Ming. And keep in mind that there are actually a few talents coming online later that are big tools against Cho'Gall. Specifically, of course, when we're talking about Thrall. He can really, really help out with this. Level 10 abilities will be in soon. Nice initial damage against the Immortal. They're winning the halftime show here. Level 10 abilities, of course, another big concern right now. Cho'Gall gets attacked again. It's very quickly low in HP. And they are trying to get some extra damage in here. Stun, yeah, but that was a little bit of a... yeah. That did not quite work out for them. But then Rage Regeneration here. Edge of Madness, just like dodging out. Level 10 is in. Gives us all the ults that you would expect. Maybe noteworthy that we got Hyperion. There's level 10. Sundering. They go again for Stitches, for Chen. And he gets the heal, but he also has to kick out. They're all low and are barely able to get away here. Disciple was close to get the value. And now at the top, they're going for Jimmy, and he's gone. The flank was just too much for him to handle. The Immortal is also starting to drop insanely low on the side of Rospierre. So this is looking better and better on the second objective for the Raccoons. They are... no, they're not losing Mal'Ganis. Mal'Ganis is still trying to tee them up. But this is a pretty big shield, all things considered. Yeah, that's not bad. That's 4 kills to 1. That's them now with more than 50% on the shield. And of course, 4 kills to 1, so they have a lead in experience too. Not bad. Yep. Very, very nice for them. And how much... well, they should be able to get the fort. They should be able to destroy the fort. And Sylvanas is still pushing at the bottom of the map. Has taken the walls out a little bit. Wants to also negate, of course, vision for later on in the game. But Chen is moving back down to deal with her. But here at the top, yeah, they're pushing this past the fort for sure. So, Sylvanas against Chen down at the bottom of the map. That fight still continues. Aether is now jumping back out here. There's catapults too. All the way up at the top. The fort has been destroyed. This is all that they're going to be able to do here. Sylvanas might be able to destroy some of the structures. But Gavlo is also really low. And I think Gavlo has realized that he's going to die here. Yeah. So he's not able to get a counter kill. The team was rotating in to try and help out, but they were just 1-2 seconds too late. Nice attack against Chen though. Didn't end up with a kill, but still, not too bad. Currently what we have is 23,000 damage from Li Ming. We got 23,000 also from Thrall. And as I said before, Thrall is going to become more of a threat when he has his level 16 synergy. Oh, Mal'Ganis. Yeah, he gets some heals, but it's just not enough to keep him alive. Jimmy is at the top, all alone there. So it's a little bit of a weird one. I think Sylvanas just overstayed, and then them staying in the fight was also a little bit of a problem. Here come the level 13 talents. This, of course, makes Cho'Gall even more survivable thanks to the Molten Block that he now has. But we should get with level 13 also, as I said before, a Glass Cannon for Li Ming, and then they can maybe blow one of their targets up a little bit faster. Both of the teams have now lost their forts. Structurally, they are even. Absolutely even. Now, here's the level 13 talents. Glass Cannon is in. Also gives us the Quickening Blessing. So that's going to be a bit helpful too. On top of that, Thrall with the Spirit Shield. Another tool that makes perfect sense, given the lineups that they're playing against. Yeah. Sylvanas. The Barrage. They fall behind in experience by a bit though. Not by a lot, but yeah, they've slightly fallen behind here. Now, what we're getting at the top, we still have Thrall now starting to move in. Sundering is obviously ready, so they could execute that if they see an opportunity here. Mal'Ganis gets stopped right away. They got nice damage out, but the Sundering, that was maybe a little bit too optimistic. Not that they could get a lot done with it. They were hoping to tee a kill up, but Cho'Gall hasn't fallen yet. Nice stuns though, and really good control also with the ult of Tyrande here. They got Li Ming into a decent position for this, and Cho'Gall was threatened there for just a second. So Mech-Onek, again, he's bringing the nutritional value, but he also needs to bring the kills now. And they are poking. They are poking a ton here. Jimmy is the one that is trying to return the favor on the Immortal, but now this whole thing is open, and Li Ming is immediately moving in for some damage. if they win another objective here, they might be able to take a keep out. Thrall, yeah, but the Molten Block got used. Thrall 16 is going to be a big threat to Cho'Gath. I've been talking about it ever since he was drafted. But here comes the kill, potentially. They go for Thrall. He somehow gets out of the fight and the Hyperion. And it is Mal'Ganis that falls. But the Immortal has been taken with a big shield once again. So they might only have 4 heroes now. But they have at least taken the objective. Alright. So, at this point, top lane, I don't think they're going to be able to do too much. Not in a 4 versus 5. The red team is already in position. They're going to defend this. But the blue team is now splitting their forces on the 2 lanes. And they're trying to at least do some damage at the bottom of the map. Yeah, they get Sylvanas here right away. Chen is jumping in. Cho'Gath is actually coming down too. But that means that at the top, it's only Jimmy that is really defending. So they're playing this out against the rest of the red team. Now that Mal'Ganis is back as well. But yeah, that's still going to be a little bit more damage than necessarily expected from the Immortal at the top. The teams are also closing on level 16. And then it's a very interesting play. I mean, obviously with level 16 we get big talents also for Cho'Gath. But on top of that, I want to see that synergy with Thrall and how much he is going to be able to do. So Cho'Gath right now with the Frenzied Fists right there. And we get Gal with the Leaden Orb. So that's going to be a big one as well. But, well, now that we get the talent on the blue team side, this is, I think, where the party is really just starting up. First of all, we get the Celestial Attunement. We get Mirror Ball, which is also going to be pretty big for Li Ming with the damage. Already dodged out. And then Alpha Wolf, which is going to be absolutely huge. Alpha Wolf is going to be big against Cho'Gath. And against Chen. We're talking a lot about Cho'Gath here, but let's not forget about Chen. Chen can be taken out now too, fairly easily if they get to him at some point. 4 kills to 4. Cho'Gath gets hit hard, gets stunned. And I am a little bit surprised that they didn't try to follow this up maybe with the Sundering too. Now Aegis is obviously still up. Not so sure if they should really go in here the way that they did. Another big hit. Look how quickly they can burn down either Cho'Gath or Chen by 50% of its HP. They can get a lot of damage in very, very quickly. It's a totally different story to get the other 50% and get the kill. But the initial burst is very, very nice. And we now have 45,000 damage from Li Ming. She's top damage in the game, even ahead of Gal. Immortal is spawning again. Yeah, they're slowly falling back here. This is where it gets tricky, because you can't just force it. You have to be very, very careful on when you make the approach and when there's an opportunity that really presents itself. So, for now, Sylvanas is pushing the bot lane out a little bit again. And they take also their camp at the bottom of the map. So that is pretty big. That's pretty huge, actually. They got their shaman camp, the opponent doesn't. Once again, Cho'Gath. It's crushed a little bit here. At least at the start of all of this. That bottom keep is in trouble. The bottom keep on the red team side could really be in trouble now. Yeah, Sylvanas, Gavlo might have gone a little bit too deep on all of this. But Cho'Gath is also taking some damage. They're still going to be fine. Yeah. And again, this is going to take the keep down. They're going to lose the keep if they don't send somebody back. And here comes Jimmy. But that is a lot of damage on the keep already as is. And now that he appears, Sylvana has an easy defense at the top. And the team might even be able to make a move here. So they're playing it out through the middle. The keep at the bottom of the map has taken roughly 50% of its hit points. So that's a lot of damage on that bad boy. And here comes Cho'Gath, attacked again. Nice, the Sundering as they're trying to go for Oriel, but Thrall gets targeted. And wow, makes it. Makes it. In comes Thrall again. They nearly have Chen here. Chen is mega low and they barely can not get him down. They nearly got the kill there. Sylvanas is jumping back out. They are all so damn low, but they survive. Oh, so many kill opportunities for both teams in that situation. But the halftime show victory now for the red team. They actually won this engage because they did not lose Chen. If Chen falls, totally different story. Chen surviving, and all of a sudden we're talking big immortal for Rospedol. There might be a 5th map in our future. There's a chance. That's a very decent shield. What's that? 75%? 70%? Yeah, 70. So, let's see what they can do. Cho'Gall again has not died yet. They're already trying to meet them early here. Mal'Ganis is moving in. Yeah, can they tee somebody up? I don't think so. We're trying though. Gavlo at the top, getting some free damage in against Chen. Problem is that Chen is also right here and says hello. But then Tyrande is helping out. There's the kick! And Gavlo has a problem. Yeah. Gets also quickly hit. Might be able to escape. But during all of this, the fight obviously continues at the bottom of the map. The Immortal is nearly defeated. But Sylvanas will eventually fall. Or will she? Vision is all that he needs here. And Gavlo... Oh! Finally dies. Gavlo really likes to do this, where he just flanks in and he is in a weird position and then he pays the price for it. He does that a lot. Now, I'm calling it out as a negative. There are a lot of situations where it actually works for him, where he flanks in, gets decent damage, and all of a sudden they're getting close to a kill and they can play around it. But there are also the other situations where all of a sudden this happens. He gets caught very early on the wrong side on the fight, runs for the rest of the fight, and then dies towards the end of it. So him just running straight into the attack of Jimmy was obviously putting the nail in the coffin there. And it now puts the team in the awkward spot where they have to defend against an opponent that has level 20 talents. You got execute orders here for Jimmy. But yeah, it's a little bit of a weird one because now they lose the keep at the top. They can't defend. They don't have level 20 and they don't have Sylvanas. So that's a problem. Then, despite the fact that we had such a decent defense at the bottom of the map, they still lost the keep. Now, to be fair, this one, could that damage the bottom keep a bit more? Not with Chen and Jimmy now rotating over. But it will come down to a final fight. It's gonna come down to a final battle between the two teams over the next objective. Yeah, possession is being used now as well. And, of course, with that, we now have 20 available, which gives us the shooting star right there. We get also Tal Rasha's element. And now, early start on the Immortal 2. They're just going for a race. They're racing this quickly. And, yeah, from the looks of it, it's a fairly even battle. Blue team, a little bit ahead. Small win for them. But it comes down to whether or not they're going to be able to get kills. The Owl smooching with Chen a little bit. 13 stacks on the 16 for Oriel. For that extra heal. A little bit of a side, but again, with that we have, well, again, the continuous poke here from Cho'Gall and his boys from the outside. The Wolf missing, didn't connect with anything here. Let me try and tee something up. And Mal'Ganis is already a little bit low. Sylvanas has moved down to the bottom of the map to push another wave out. Good for her. But again, they need the damage in the fight. They need kills. And instead, what happens is that they're starting to lose a lot of hit points on Mal'Ganis, which makes it really difficult for him to engage into a fight, and Mal'Ganis might have to fall back here. They are focusing now on Thrall. Sundering is out. Mal'Ganis trying to get out, and instead Gavlo gets hit for a second and is able to bolt away. But that's another Immortal for Rospiadol, and it might destroy the bottom keep, which is the final one that the Raccoons have. So now they're trying to jump into the fight here. But I just don't think they can force it. Well, they got some damage in, but Mal'Ganis gets absolutely destroyed. Then again, no. Molten Block, and despite the fact that they got close to taking out 2 or 3 heroes. Li Ming deleting Reyna. Absolutely deleting him. He was there, and then he just disappeared. Popped like a pimple. And she tried again on Cho'Gall, but they're losing. Thrall, no. Yeah, Thrall is gone. Li Ming, even with all the damage that she all of a sudden gets, is not able to stop that onslaught. She's at 93,000 damage right now, and it is just not enough. They go for Tyrande. Here comes the Keck play. They're trying to turn it around, and Cho'Gall is dead! Cho'Gall is dead! Li Ming with a kill. They kill Tyrande, but Chen is gone too. So they get the kills finally. But is this gonna be enough? I honestly don't know. Li Ming, once the hits, is looking for the aggression. They go for Jimmy, and he eats the damage. But they need kills here, and I'm not sure if they can. The mana is running out for Disciple. If he had full mana here, I think this is a different story. But as it stands right now, the minimum that they have to do is move down to the bottom of the map and get that keep. If they don't get that bottom keep and at least have catapults on the bot lane, then I do not know how they're going to try and turn this one around. And I'm not sure if they can. So, they got important kills. But they couldn't follow it up with more. And they were clearly hoping to get either Oriel or Jimmy. But it didn't happen. So now the bot lane push is coming. Talking about Jimmy, he's still there. And Cho'Gall is now ready too. So they're burning this one down. I do not think they get that keep. That's a problem. It's a big problem. 22 minutes in, 8 kills to 8, and we have catapults galore now. So, yeah. With you having lost all your keeps, not being able to take out the one at the bottom of the map because you went for a camp and you just didn't have the mana on Li Ming to continue the pressure play with her. That leads us to another objective. So, yeah. Ooh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah, this is gonna get interesting now. I am not so sure if the blue team can somehow play around this. They're gonna try. They have at least a camp at the bottom of the map, so there's that. By now, we have 100,000 damage for Li Ming. She's the only one that hasn't died in the entire game. Everybody else has died at least one. Disciple is the only survivor here. So, right now, halftime show seems like it's a victory for the blue team. Yeah, blue team gets the halftime show victory. And then it's a question of who gets the immortal. The blue team, they can't poke it out like they did previously and then lose just hit point after hit point on Morganis. They gotta do something here. And already they start. Disciple. Yeah, it's not great when you start things off with a stun against you. So he's firing away with Li Ming. They're trying to get as much of an angle as they possibly can. The bottom camp has been taken out by Rospedol. And they're starting to fall back here. Oh, the fat finger from Chen. That barrel looked a little bit awkward. So he used his barrel already. Don't think that that was really intended. And that's one threat removed for a few more seconds. Yeah, nice damage against Cho'Gall, but again, he's a beast. He's an absolute monster. Now he's a monster that is losing hit points. Chen also dodges out on the wolf. That one did not connect. Li Ming still with really nice damage numbers, but she is also under pressure. Tirana's helping out. Morganis is gone, and they get Oriel. Maybe, and they do. But Li Ming is also dead, and I think this could be it. There's the kill on Thrall. It's 3 heroes down on the blue team. They lost Oriel. That's not enough. Scourge is trying to survive. He gets jumped by Fat Illidan, and that is the end. They go for the Immortal. They win this one. Gavlo is jumping out and is able to escape, but the core won't be able to run away. It can try, but that would be a pretty new ability that we haven't seen yet in Heroes of the Storm. I don't think that they involved this much. So guys, it was a 2-0 lead, but all of a sudden we're going to game number 5. 2-0. That's where we're at. 2-0 for the Raccoons. Now we're going into the final map. Rospedol has started a massive comeback and a huge 6.5 out of 10 move. Nicely done. GG. Well played. Towers of Doom, game number 5. Yep, we're going to the final map. I didn't think we would either. Not after game number 1 and game number 2. So now we're going into the 5th game, which means 40 heroes are unavailable as we're entering the draft. It's also a bit of an interesting one because I think right now the Raccoons are taking this very seriously. So far, I talked a little bit about portrait synergy, about mount synergy, and the spray game synergy that we had from the Raccoons. And the entire time, there was one man that stood out a bit, and that was Gavlo. Gavlo did have the wrong portrait. You could still argue that it was in line with at least the idea of the Raccoons, but he didn't have the same portrait as his other teammates. Now for game number 5, he all of a sudden changed his portrait. So all 5 of them are now also on the same portrait. Definitely
showcasing that they're embracing their inner Raccoon. They are now one with the universe, and they will work as a unit. Or Gavlo has in the last 5 minutes started to date a yoga chick, and that's why he's now on a bit of a spiritual trip. Who knows? But either way, they're now one. They're united in their attempt to go to the next round of the losers bracket. Rospedol, on the other hand, has now won 2 games in a row, and they must be feeling pretty good here. We get Uther banned out, so a little bit of a target play against the supports on the other side. Okay, that's interesting. Shifting the pick pattern slightly. Sergeant Hammer and Genji were heroes that were previously banned, and, well, can only ban one of them. Urel got also banned and hasn't been addressed previously. Sergeant Hammer. So Genji is up. Or are they now with the ban on Uther prioritizing a supporter on the first pick? It's game 5. We still got enough heroes around. But this is where you really have to start thinking heavily around how do we doing this with our draft. So right now, there's Genji. Okay. Yeah, Genji is in. With Genji being up again, like, that's something that you would expect. But what exactly is Rospedol now doing on the other side to respond to this? Varian and Chromie. Chromie got banned previously, time and time again. So now we got Chromie. Genji will have to apply a lot of pressure to her, or she's just going to reign supreme from a distance. So we got Varian with Taunt. We got Chromie. And this is where things will now get a bit spicy. Because one of the heroes that the Raccoons have been gotten rid of time and time again was Chromie. They did not want to go up against the fake dragon. And I can understand. If you are pretending to be a dragon with that form, you're a total maniac. And the Raccoons know that. I would be scared of Chromie as well, because she's nuts. Like, you look at a little gnome and you're like, a dragon? You're a dragon? You need a mirror. Like, whatever you've been looking into, it's not a mirror. You're crazy. And she has the crazy eyes and everything. I would be afraid of her too. So they banned her several times, but now all that craziness got unleashed in game number 5. Tyrael gets banned, we get Whitemane, and we got Gavlo on Cassia. So on the damage, they're really set. We got Genji, and we get Cassia. I don't know, damage they're really set. They just need that front line. By the way, Greymane, another hero that you can take for raw damage. Damage dealers are never really a problem in the game. Frontline though. ETC up. Arthur's available. Imperius, main tank style, could also be played. It's plenty. Still got plenty here. And for the supports, Stukov gets banned. That's a really good choice. Because, again, you don't want to allow Varian Stukov in game 5. That's insane. Varian Chromie as a combo is already a bit crazy. But, yeah, the ban on Stukov, really important. Uther got banned earlier. There's ETC, and they got Alexstrasza. Alright, so they're going to go for a side lane ETC here. From the looks of it, at least. That limits the pool on the front line a bit for the Raccoons. Again, Arthur's Imperius would be one potential combo. Mei is still up. You could pick her as well. And what is the blue team prioritizing? Need something. Arthur's and the Vikings. Alright. Didn't have the Vikings on my bingo card, but they go for the Vikings now. Quick reminder, there is a Vikings bounty, but it is a longboat with the Vikings. I have my doubts as to what we're going to see with that. I would assume we're not going to get a longboat here. I'm happy that we got the Vikings, so that's already a win. And that brings us straight to pick number 5, the final one, on the side of Rospedol. The team that won 2 maps in a row now, and could turn the entire series on its head. And we get Sonya. Triple frontline, Chromie. Ladies and gentlemen, the final map in the losers bracket here at the Murky Cup playoffs, it is Towers of Doom. Game number 5, it is the final map in the series. Who takes it? Who moves on to the next round of this? We have on the left side, Bircho and Arthurs. Gavlo with Cassia. We got Ubi on the Vikings. We got Disciple on Genji. And Scorch is playing white main. Over on the right side of the map, it's Makotzel on Varian. We got Balor on Alexstrasza. So close. Circle of Life, we are just missing stitches here. They're always messing this up. And then we have Ether on Sonya, Cesabos on ETC, and Bronek is playing Chromie. Well, off we go. On level 1, we also got the Agile Dismount right now. And, well, we got the Time Walker's Pursuit over here. It's again, you have, just think this through for a moment. Engage from Varian, Taunt, ETC Slide, Chromie damage. So they don't have Stukov behind it, they don't have Uther, they don't have another stun, they don't have Malfurion, but they got ADC here. So they have some tools. Also, they are intercepting Sonya as she rotates. She's still getting damage in, but that is a kill! Get wrecked! Ether survives, and that's not... Fucking glorious! Beauty! Eric comes in and gets the kill. First, it's Genji that doesn't make it, which was in and of itself already amazing. And then you have Eric coming in and he just drops the target. Incredible. Absolutely awesome. Yeah, that's how this game is being played, guys. Exactly like this. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So now they are fully committing to the camp. Chromie is down. Blue team with a bit of a lead. We have that aggression again from the Raccoons. Those are rabid Raccoons, and, well, that is the end of Sonya. She came, she saw, she died again. Veni, Vidi, Fiji. So, yeah, that's the end of her. And now that they got the pumpkins, they can easily destroy the wall at the bottom of the map. The Vikings are obviously soaking the lanes. And the blue team is getting some pressure through. They're also working in the extra stacks now for Arthur's on his level 4 and his level 1. The lead in experience is easily in their hands with the kills that they got. They forced the Dragon Queen. Not shabby. Yeah, that was pretty good. So, top side, that's where we have Ubi now doing his thing. In the middle, already the next attack. But this is where Taunt comes in. So now Taunt is ready. And with Taunt, they can start to try and make some moves with that combo that I highlighted earlier, especially, of course, with the Chromie damage behind it. So we'll see if they do that. But heroes like Cassia have to be careful now. And again, just to highlight the glorious mounts that we get from them. Raccoons everywhere. I love this team. The Raccoons are amazing. They ride Raccoons, they have the Raccoon spray, they got the Raccoon portrait. It's a work of art, it's a beauty. This, on the other hand, could backfire against them. They're losing a lot of hit points on Genji and on Arthur. Specifically, Arthur's is a bit low, but gets saved by a Scourge. And yeah, they still make it. The shots are being fired, so the altar is up. We already had a bit of an exchange happening, and now they're getting pressure onto Sonya again. She needs a bit of an assist and gets it, but that means that at the bottom fight, there are a couple of heroes missing. So right now, this is a 3 versus 3 here. The Vikings can still interrupt this. And Disciple gets... Yeah, he gets killed again. He might be overdoing it a bit, but they got the altar. They actually channeled the altar through, so not bad. Disciple might have died, but at least they were able to pick the top right altar up. They gave up the one at the bottom of the map, so it's a 2-1 trade either way. But still, not bad. This could have been a lot worse. So, good for them. All the way up at the top. Once we get some spin to win action. We have in the middle of the map still a little bit more pew 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 happening. And yep, there's a level 7. It's actually full spin to win. I mean, we are getting Hurricane and we're getting Life Funnel here for Sonya, so survivability galore. Still a bit curious what level 10 is going to bring. I just do not think that the Raccoons are looking at this game and are saying like, hey, let's give ourselves a bounty, a handicap, and go for the longboat here. They could. If they really think they're not getting any value out of play again, then I suppose they could definitely also go for a bounty in that context. If it doesn't make a difference to them. But I think the chances of that happening are slim. Nice little attack against Genji, but he made it. Good damage at the bottom fort, the bottom bell tower. And the lean experience is still in the hands of the Raccoons here. So, yeah, with that, we're now looking at slowly level 9. And then we're going to get level 10 abilities to see who fights for the next one. Chromie has decided to go in favor of slowing sands. And level 7 we get the augmented guard. Genji is already back in against Sonya. Slammed around a little bit. Crest is completed. And, well, nearly another kill against Aether. Nice little play here from Cassia, but she was just too late to get enough damage in to drop Sonya in that situation. He got close, though. But, yep, by now, we got the attack at the bottom of the map again. Genji is keeping them on their toes. I mean, it backfired against him already 2 times, so Disciple needs to be careful here. But generally speaking, he's doing work. Now that Cassia gets killed, though, that's obviously a nice little boost for Rospier, who is behind in experience, but is doing everything that they can to catch up on this. Yeah, more shots were fired, so now it's 28 points on the core against 36. But level 10 abilities are gonna be ready in a second. And my eyes are on Arthur's. We've seen a lot of Syndragosa. Play again, no bounty attempt. And Arthur's is holding his ult back as already expected. And there it is. Syndragosa is in the house as Genji dies again at the top. Disciple is... I'm not sure if he has an off day, or if people are just a bit better dealing with him, or if there's pressure on him because he feels he needs to make the big plays and takes too many risks here. But he was struggling with Orphea already when they played that triple backline comp, and now he died 3 times on Genji as well, getting punished by Sonya topside once more. So this is making it difficult for them. Situation as is that Rospier is starting to really bring this one back. They obviously were initially two games behind in the series, and they brought it back, and now they are also going for a little bit of a small comeback here in game number 5. So ETC with the mosh pit, stopping Arthur's, but they're going deep for the kill, and Genji back to business is starting to take Chromie out. Chromie is gone, and they want more. They're looking for more kills here, but does not seem too likely. There's the taunt, still fine, but they all suffered in that last push. 5 kills to 5 though. 5 kills to 5, and the double altar phase is now popping up at the bottom of the map. Now, we are still seeing a little bit more momentum maybe for the Raccoons. And the chance to use the Vikings to channel the altars, of course. So that's another one that they can try. And at the bottom of the map, I think they're going to get this one for free. Yeah, the interrupt is going to be too late. So one altar is definitely there. But Whitemane gets attacked and gets eventually killed as Arthur's completes his quest. The problem is that both of the altars went to the blue team. So they lost Whitemane, but they got the double altar. The bell tower now falls at the bottom of the map, but it doesn't change the fact that the blue team is now 16 points ahead on the core. Now, how quickly can the Raccoons take that bell tower back? That remains to be seen. But this is a little bit tricky. Rospier is losing a lot of points on the core. This Towers of Doom is the biggest comeback map in the pool. But you have to be very, very cautious when you're falling this far behind in points on the core. You can always, with late game battles and victories, gain momentum, get a couple of bell towers, and then get an altar or 2, maybe even get the barrage going and then return the favor. But it, again, is a bit of a risk. So the pumpkins are slowly making it through here. Pacify is in. They're still trying to take the pumpkins out, and I think they can. Arthur's with the completed level 4 quest is also getting a lot of value now. On level 13, he went into the Shattered Armor. Genji, yeah, they keep poking. There's the mosh pit, it connects with 2, and Whitemane is gone. They don't have a lot of interrupts against ETC. They really don't, but they get counter kills. Chromie and Varian are both gone. Chromie and Varian get both eliminated, and what looked like a great start is now turning against them, if not for this kill against Cassia. So it is a bloodbath down here. Top side, Sonya has actually taken another bell tower. That means we have 6 bell towers to 2 now. Ladies and gentlemen, Rospier is looking really solid now. Yeah, they might lose with the X-Strike Sonya, but they have taken a lot. So here comes the first interrupt attempt against Barlow, and it's too late. 6 shots are fired, and they only get 2 as a return. So the comeback is slowly starting. 27 points on the core now against 18. The lead in experience goes to Rospedol too. For the blue team, bit of a disaster. They need to take bell towers back, and they need to take him quickly. Cassia, top damage in the game with 47,000. We got 38,000 for Genji. They want that bell tower at the bottom, and they're working on the one at the top at the same time as the red team looks for the barrage. Do they get a couple of shots? And the answer is, yep, they get at least one. Don't think they can get more, but they're going to get one shot, and yep, that's it. So they trade the bell towers here. Boss is going to be taken next at the top lane. 16 talents available for the Raccoons, and the red team is locking in their own talent, which gives us now overprotectives. They're really going fully into abundance with her. Bit of a surprise, honestly. No Draconic Might or anything crazy, but really just like the full-on spec into the globes. Full-on abundance right there with all the synergy that they can muster. So, big plays from them with now imposing presence as a potential tool. The banner of Dalaran. We get on the other side, besides martial law, now also Remorseless Winter. And here comes again Arthas. Has to be careful. Mosh Pit once again against 3. ETC is ruining the Raccoons. He's absolutely ruining them. The ETC plays that we are getting, it's mosh after mosh, and there are not enough interrupts. Now Cassia falls as well. We have 8 kills, 2-10, and it's a triple altar phase coming up. And Sonya, she has already gone to the top lane again and retaken the top lane bell tower. So it's a 5 versus 3 situation, and there is more and more momentum from Rospedol with every single fight, every single play. They are getting a bit farther ahead. That's 5 shots fired. They are going to take the big lead right now. They might get a massive one. I think they can get all 3 altars. Top right has been channeled. That puts the blue team down to 12. They could drop down into the single digits now, and they will. Chromie completes the channel at the bottom of the map. Every single altar in that objective phase went to Rospedol. Their comeback is happening. 6.5 out of 10. No comeback mechanics. IGN. I'm going to re-evaluate the game 13 years later. Insane. So, they're exchanging bell towers, and the refueled Raccoons, after a dominant 2-0 lead in the series, they are now about to be eliminated from the tournament. They need... I mean, it's 18 versus 18. They at least have the levels. But they need a big team fight victory, and ETC is just looking for that next mosh pit. Cesabos has been a nightmare for them. He has been an absolute menace. His last 2 mosh pits have always caught at a minimum 2 heroes. And there are just no interrupts. There's nothing that they could do to interrupt him reliably. So the problem is still the same. The red team is pressuring, pushing, and is forcing things. ETC gets stopped. Nice Howling Blast. And this time, the mosh is not successful. Finally. It's a big cooldown burned. They dodged around it, but there's still the play for Gavlo. Yeah, he seems to be able to make it though. The heals are coming. Good damage also from Cassia. They go for Varian, and he is dead. Varian is gone. Now they go for ET. See ya! He's gone. Maybe the red team is overstepping a little bit now. Maybe they're getting punished. They're trying to chase. Arthas goes down, but they're trading his life for Alexstrasza. Gavlo is alive, and he's gonna get killed. Yep. But what about Sonya? Sonya is still alive and kicking. In comes Olaf. Oh, Scorch is about to go down, and yeah, I think they're saving Genji, but they could have lost him too. Sonya coming in destroyed them. Ether, until he arrived, it looked disastrous, but Bronix survived, Chromie made it, and now we have, of course, the kill here too. Genji, no, he missed it! No! And he's able to escape, but boy, that was close. In that situation, there was actually a shot that he gets the kill on Chromie and then gets away. That was half a second. Half a second that was missing. 11 kills to 14. Situation still fairly similar.
couple of bell towers. I mean, again, like, a few shots have been fired thanks to the Vikings, but it's 7-2-15 on the core. And it's just nasty. Imagine Chromie dying there. If Chromie dies, that would be another big step for the blue team. But now it's a 5 versus 5 again. The boss at the top is not up, but we have 2 altars coming up soon. And they haven't retaken the bottom bell tower yet. Glory to the Alliance. Absolute 0. The Titan's Revenge is in, and we got Sunjin. So Sunjin is now ready as well, with Reflect coming in too. Can Genji get enough done in these fights now? That's the big question, of course, from here on out. And, well, Eric goes down. Gavlo, gotta be very, very careful on this. Here, Cassia is gone. Cassia is gone. That's a shitty start for them. That's a horrible start. They need to get something done quickly, or it's a nightmare. ETC with a slide. Genji is gone. The Vikings have started to channel and will be interrupted. Now that Whitemane is gone, this looks like it's lights out. Guys, they really did it. They went for the full reverse sweep. It's unbelievable. Rospierdol with a full reverse sweep. If they take it and the Raccoons are dropped from the tournament as the Polish team claims victory in the best of 5. GG.